more people need to explore that mentality more. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to
Yeah.
just stay stuck to something just because it's all you knew. The Wright brothers in the airplane, they just was
Hmm.
like, yo, we've got to fly. Nobody never did that. Nobody never
Yeah.
thought that was possible.
Right.
Now we're on airplanes every
Yeah.
day.
Stop me if I'm like saying too much, but like from what I remember,
Yeah.
you actively like you were in what you now consider to be a cult, but now you have a life. You seem still happy and everything, and like, dude, how is that like give us what's tell us about that.
Man, it's honestly like if I'm being real, like it still just makes me like some days I just wake up and I look at my life. I'm like, yo, like I used to really be a very different person like a couple years ago. Kingdom Hall is like, what they call church. I used to just sit there and listen to like when they would give the sermons and they would talk. And some things
Mhm.
just wouldn't make sense to me. And I'm like, well, why do y'all say this about women, but the Bible says this, this, and this? They got bread too, by the way. They're a corporation.
I
They
believe
have
it.
they literally have a lot of money. Even the founders of the religion were like Freemasons and stuff like that. Like I learned a
Mm.
lot of stuff. I learned that they have investments in weapon companies. Man, it was just so many things. And I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Ever since I was younger, I always wore like like some type of like necklace. It
Same.
was a dog
Or
tag,
like
stuff
beads or
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just always had something like kind of like show off like who I am. Excuse my candid nature on this podcast, this video, but kid you not, this girl was literally like, I'm not gonna give this back to you until you let me suck your dick. And she knew I was a Christian. And I told her straight up, like we would have conversations about Jesus and stuff like that. And I'd tell her straight up, like, yeah, to be honest, even what we're doing right now, what we have been doing, this is this is not pleasing. Me looking back, I personally see that as not being a hypocrite because I was just being real and telling her straight up. I wasn't trying to shift it up and switch it and be like, oh, yeah, this isn't wrong. I was being honest about what was wrong as a Christian, but at the same time, I was also letting her know, like, look, I fall into this too, like, and just because I'm doing this does not mean that, like, it's right, but also I want you to know, like, I really do be trying, like, and I want to stop this. And eventually I was able to stop it because like, my guilty conscience, like my convictions, it just kept on like hitting me.
So I have a real serious question then that I'm very curious about. Do you believe in absolute truth?
I mean, I would say yes and no, because I do think there are some truths that are just like, no, it just has to be real. Like the universal laws, for example, you know what I'm saying? The law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of gravity. All these different universal laws are in place that you cannot dispute. For getting really deep, this is how I look at like the universe. It's like it's a big puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is like fragmented into little pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
The absolute is the puzzle. The subjective,
And when they all come together?
when it all condenses, it's one big picture. That's the
Yeah.
absolute truth. So
Yeah.
there is a God or a creator or some higher source of energy, whatever you want to call it. That's the truth, at least to me.
Okay.
I know some people are atheists, but it makes sense. We
Yeah.
had to come from something,
Mm.
even if it was a big bang.
Yeah.
Something had to make the big bang or
That's
whatever.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. Like, yo, there is an absolute truth. Is the earth really on top of Atlas's back? The absolute truth, it's still going to be absolute regardless of whatever we believe. So just because I don't believe that it is doesn't mean that it
That
really
can't be
isn't.
true.
Yeah, it
Right.
doesn't influence that. Just because I don't believe in God does not make God any less true than what he might be. Law of non-contradiction.
That's interesting.
If the Quran is saying that Jesus never was crucified and it was actually Judas and boom, 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 but then the Bible is saying that Jesus was crucified and boom, 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 boom. Now I can't look at either of them. I have to look at, okay, these two things are contradicting. These two things both cannot be true. What else can I look at?